Hello, everyone. Welcome to I for Inclusion and to the third episode of our talk show, Let's Talk Inclusion. It is a special episode for parents, and the topic for today's discussion is keep calm and stay positive. I'm Manobina Chakraborty, the host for today's show. I'm an inclusive education consultant and an autism advocate based in India. I don't have any guests today because the experts of today's episode are two of the founding members of I for Inclusion. So I cannot consider them as guests. So we have Therese Bosshards with us, and Enid is joining us because she is facing some technical difficulties, and we really hope that she's going to join us soon. Hi, Therese.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Did you have a good day? Since I'm early morning just waking up and you're getting ready to go to bed later soon.
Almost, yes. So before we formally begin our discussion today, may I request you to say something about yourself, give a brief introduction of your life and work, please.
Sure. Thank you so much. And I have to say, I'm so pleased and honored to be part of the I for Inclusion group. It's an international group, which we are just so enjoying learning and meeting everybody in the different countries and how we're dealing with neurodiversity. And we all feel that's really important. So thank you for that. It's a great honor to be with all you ladies. So anyways, what I'd like to say is for 15 years, I've been a consultant, educational consultant, and a trainer. And I use a program out of Boulder Creek, California called Heart Math. But I also use other things that I've learned along the way. So I've worked with school districts, elementary up through college. I've trained professors at Harvard University, at ASU and University of Arizona. And it is a program that teaches people how to calm down, how to reduce stress, and it teaches the science behind it. So that's what I've been doing. It's my passion and I love it.
That's really great. Excellent. I'm delighted to have you on board today, Therese. So coming to our topic now, for most parents to say that COVID-19 pandemic has been stressful would be a dramatic understatement. The combination of financial pressure, health concerns, looking after the children 24/7 is exceedingly challenging for families. Therefore, mental health problems in parents have started and are expected to rise dramatically as a secondary effect of COVID-19. So my question to you today is, Therese, what measures can be taken to contain these mental health issues?
Okay, so what I've seen in my practice and through my clients is that it's the emotional aspect of this that's causing so many issues. So emotionally, we're very unbalanced, and that's happening because we've never seen anything like this, and we don't know what to do. And we've been continuing in life as we go to school, we go to work, we do this, we do that, and we've settled into that. Well, now we have to change everything, and that's really, really difficult to do. So when you have imbalance within your emotional body or nervous system, and we're talking about the body, your hands, you feel headaches, you have stomach aches, you have very short tempers, you have a lot of fear, okay? And that's the physical part of that, is that your body gets flooded with adrenaline. The adrenaline comes in, for instance, if you have a tiger chasing you or a car is coming at you, you need to run really quickly. So this is the same adrenaline that's happening when we're fearful and nervous and scared. So what we really would like to do is calm down that system, that emotional system. And we can each do it for ourselves with some practice. And the company that I trained for this program has done all the science behind it to show how important some of these techniques are to help that. Once we balance that emotion, we're able to come up with bigger, more solutions, and rather than just dealing with the challenges and not having anywhere to go.
Very true, very true. As we have been discussing, many families who have children with learning differences are coping with the suspension of both school and essential services. In India, schools are closed for the last 9 months.
Oh my, wow.
Children with additional needs no longer have that sense of structure and stimulation that is provided by that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have no opportunity to be with their friends and get their social support that is essential for good mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Children's mental health is getting affected, and parents are absolutely helpless.
Yeah.
So, what would you advise them to practice for staying calm and positive?
Okay, so we'll work with one particular technique today. And I know, speaking to everybody in our audience, this is going to seem very, very, very simple, all right? But it is making massive changes within your body. And so when we have fear and anxiety for things that are happening around us, for the challenges we have, and that adrenaline's coming in, you can't think appropriately. So you cannot pull out the information you need. So balancing that system will help you. So let's do a technique called the quick coherence technique. And I'm sure everybody or a lot of people are aware of the what has happened when you have yoga, when you do, hi Enid.
Hi, I was having a hard time getting on. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No problem. So yoga, meditation, and all those things are wonderful and they're very helpful. And you may even want to consider that to do that with your family. But this technique works within minutes. So let's all start to breathe into the count of 5. And I want you to breathe through your heart space, okay? So breathe in to the count of 5 and out to the count of 5. So we're not breathing very deep. We're only going to the heart area. And then the final step to this is to imagine something that brings you great joy. And I know it's difficult. It might be difficult now, but you can think of a future vision or a future of what it's going to be like when everything gets back to a new normal. But keep your breath going in to the count of 5 and out to the count of 5. Okay, everyone. So that is the technique. And what you do is you practice that every 3 times a day for just 3 minutes. And it might not feel anything, but it's making your heart more resilient. And what's actually happening when you balance that system is you're using the heart and the brain together. The heart sends more neurotransmitted messages to the brain than the brain does to the heart. So we've been very brain-centric, and our brain is always trying to protect us and say, you're not a good mom. How dare you let your kids do this? How dare you do that? Oh my gosh. And it's just not correct information. And so it's a perception that we get from our past life experiences. So all of our perspectives come from past life experiences. So Enid's past life experiences are different than yours, Manobina, and mine. So even as a child, they're looking at things differently. So when we calm down that emotional part of us, as HeartMath has shown, the electromagnetic field of the heart goes out 3 feet. So that 3 feet is calming your child, and that 3 feet is calming your spouse. And so when you're able to do that, that calms that whole area. And they believe it might go out as much as 8 miles. So as we say, okay, we've done the quick coherence breath and we're calming everything around us, think about the chaos in the world. So it isn't just you, everybody's feeling it, but it's how you handle it that's going to make the changes. So that's the most important part of this. And when you have neurodiverse children, and even adults, everything is a little different anyways. So now we're going to expand upon that. What do they have that's good, and what do we have that's good? To go out and exercise if you can, run around the apartment, make some games where they're moving around, jumping jacks, exercise. That dissipates the adrenaline as well as the breath. But for the parents to get calm first, then you can get the whole family to calm down.
Very true, very true. Thank you very much for this technique, Therese. Now, Enid, I would like to welcome you first. We missed you. I know that it was some technical difficulties, and we are very glad that you have joined at last. So, Enid, for our viewers, could you please tell us something about your life and work?
Okay, yes, thank you. And I do apologize for the late arrival. I might live in the one spot in the world with the worst internet. And so it's Lake Tahoe, Nevada. However, I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy my internet is finally working because it's been kind of hit and miss. So thank you so much. I want to first say a couple things about what Therese just did, because we've worked together a lot. And as someone who my whole entire life has had a hard time calming stress and calming myself down when I am stressed, when I started working with Therese and I started doing these techniques, Therese has devices that can help you see where your stress is and how, when you breathe, you're bringing it down. And what I thought was interesting when we were using the technology and I'm watching my stress levels and I'm using these techniques is that the breathing is powerful, but breathing's always been challenging for me. And like Therese says, it takes the practice. The more I've practiced it, the more it really has meaning in my life. But what immediately had meaning for making the device, the technology, the little thing go down was when I thought of a happy thought. And so when Therese said that today, I just really wanted to express that, the power of that, because I could see it visually change my you can explain a little better, Therese, but it changed my whole heart waves based on me just thinking a happy thought, more than the breathing. And then the breathing obviously gets stronger and now both work together. But I just want to kind of say that is something that is very powerful. And I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it. and sometimes it's just thinking a happy thought about a memory you had once, and I know that really helped me. So one of the things I want to talk about today, as far as having our children home and having all of this stress around distance learning and learning, or, whether it's distance learning or whether we're just inside more because we can't go out. I've been working with a behavioralist that I consult with, and I think it's really important that our students understand what their expectations are. So when we're trying to keep the stress levels down, when we can really make clear expectations for our students and say, today, these are going to be the expectations. And when these expectations are met, these are the things that we are going to have as sort of a reward, So I think it's very powerful for all ages to be able to say, these are the things I'm going to accomplish today. So for adults, it's goals. And for students, these are your expectations. But that when they meet their expectations, there's a reward, or there's a something. And it might be, when our expectations today could be anything from educational to help around the house. So the expectations are we're going to fold all the laundry together, and we're going to do this together, and it's going to, you know, maybe it can be turned into a learning experience as well. And so we're going to do this, and when that's done, we can do this. So that there's a lot of anxiety around the unknown for students, for children and teens right now, because there's a lot of anxiety around the unknown for everybody, but particularly for our young people. And so when we can provide them some of that structure during these crazy, chaotic times, and say, okay, this is the structure we're going to build here, so that we have some knowns in this unknown, you know, and the knowns are going to be, these are the things we're going to get done, and these are the things that we get to, you know, enjoy once we get those things done. So I think that's really important. As far as I've noticed, I have one student I work with who's on the spectrum. We work over the computer, and two things were happening. We weren't accomplishing anything in our sessions. He wasn't gaining progress, because he would only do certain things at the very end of the session, because he figured out he could, because he figured out that I was, you know, that I would keep reminding him, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this done. We're going to get this done. And then at the very end, he would get it done. But he knew he'd only had to do it at like the last 10 minutes because of the way I had structured the session. Right. So as soon as I said to him, one day, okay, these are our expectations, we have to meet these expectations, he, at first, the first day was like, okay, this is new, I'm going to meet these expectations. He met more he did more in that session than I've ever seen a student do, because it was clear kind of what he was supposed to do and what he got after. The second time we had a session, there was complete resistance to the whole idea of expectations. So it's not something that students are going to, I mean, children are going to embrace, that these are, you know, but the more that they see that you're kind of strong with your expectations, but that there's always sort of a positive that comes after it, then it's a very powerful tool. And so now I have a student who before was maybe reading like 4 words in a session, and it was really challenging, and it was just getting him to do that. And now we're reading 25 words in a session and spelling 25 words in a session. And he says to his mom before he gets on the computer, I'm going to meet my expectations today. So it's something that I've seen have a really powerful effect, and of his anxiety reducing as well. And so, yes, so I just think right now, as a suggestion, if we can give our children clear expectations, and but support them when it's a struggle as well, to you know, when it's a new thing for them to have expectations. I know for me, was when I was you know, when my kids were younger and I'm raising them, I would do things for them instead of asking them to do things, because I always felt it was easier. But it caused a lot of stress in the home, because they're not having their responsibilities. I'm doing too much, you know. And so had I tried these things with my own children, we would have reduced a lot of stress. So.
That's great. Absolutely, Enid. And when you were talking about anxiety, something came in my mind. Whenever I speak to parents here, I get to know how children are experiencing worry, anxiety, and fear. And even this include the types of fears that are very similar to those experienced by adults, such as fear of dying, a fear of their relatives dying, maybe, or a fear of what it means to receive medical treatments. Parents find it very, very difficult to explain things to the kids. So, what is your advice to the parents?
I think talking to the children, and asking them how they feel about these times, and being ready to listen to what they have to say, because it is very challenging right now to hear some of those things you're saying that are very hard to hear. But I do even with my students that I work with, not just my own children, but we talk a lot about, you know, how are you feeling about all this stuff right now? We write papers sometimes for students who can't say it. We write it down. For some students who can't say it, we draw it out, because I do believe talking about it and expressing it and really communicating about it is so powerful, because holding it inside during, you know, for mental health reasons, is not healthy. So we know that. And so just being able to give them opportunities in any which way to be able to express it. So yes, many students we know that, you know, struggle, whether you're on the spectrum or dyslexia, communication is difficult. So it's something where we have to facilitate it. We have to ask open-ended questions. How do you feel about, you know, these things, and ask them, you know, specific open-ended questions. And or when they come to you and obviously share those things that you're expressing, that you're ready to help them process it. And so, you know, and Therese, we've talked too about, like, sometimes maybe you're really mad. Maybe you're really mad you can't go back to school, you know, or you're really mad that you can't go to the movies, or you're really mad you can't go to your friend's house and have it. My friend says to me the other day, I'm really mad at the governor. And I said, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah. He says he canceled sleepovers. And I thought, how can you cancel sleepovers? I get it. We have to cancel sleepovers right now. But it is like, I can't even imagine, because I lived for sleepovers when I was a kid, right? And so and he was mad. And so in that situation, maybe he needs to hit a pillow. You know, maybe he needs to, you know, Therese, you'd have better suggestions than me. But I mean, get that out so that, you know, you get to express that.
Well, and I think too, when parents can talk, and like you said, and I agree with this so much, communication is so important. And parents can say too, you can say to your child, look, I haven't been through this. Let's work through this together. I'm mad too, you can't have a sleepover, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, it's a break for parents, but it's also fun when they have the children over. So they're missing some things either. And I think as well, and I think we need to speak about that and be open to the children. I'm still here as your parent to guide you. I am here. We'll find a solution together, but I don't have all the answers either. And it's okay. It's okay if you don't have the answers. It's okay if I don't have the answers. And how about a Zoom sleepover? Okay, everybody sit down. We have popcorn. We're going to watch a movie, whatever, right? I mean, this is the opportunity we have to become more creative, to change what wasn't working, and to expand our communication. I mean, think about the parents who are working full time, their kids are in school. How much do you communicate, right, Enid? I mean, there is no communication.
Well, and
it's really hard. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to communicate and be around each other, and oh my goodness. And so that breathing technique calms down that magnetic field, which is the same field that comes from your phone and your computer. And then, like Enid said, you talk to them, you get them to express what's going on. And then you say, well, you know what? I don't have that answer right now. Let's figure it out together. Let's see what we can do. Let's have a family sleepover. Let's, you know, whatever we can come up with, but we need to be calm to come up with a new solution.
So Therese, I have a question for you. So we have to be calm, but for those students when they're not feeling calm and they need to get that adrenaline out, and we can't, they're not at the level where we can have them breathing yet, right? Because they're too right. What are some healthy ways that students? Because I mentioned, you know, punching on a pillow. I don't know, but I'm saying, what are some healthy ways that students can get that out so that we can get them into a state where we can help them breathe?
Right, and I know
calming down techniques. Some calming down techniques.
Yes.
Right, and I know, Enid, we've talked about this because she has sent. It's funny. She's told her students to go out and pick up a rock and come back in. But that whole thing is to get your body moving, because so let's say a student is a little tentative and he says, "Oh, Miss Enid's coming. Okay, oh my gosh, I have to sit here for a minute." Well, if she sees that, she says, "Okay, let's do a jumping jack, or let's get up and run around, or let's, like you said, punch a pillow." What is that doing scientifically for the body? It's getting rid of that adrenaline that came in because they were so nervous that they had to sit down with Miss Enid.
No, they never.
Yeah, exactly. So she knows what to do, but as parents, we do that same thing. Okay, you know, you haven't had soccer for 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. Okay, let's run, and it depends on your environment. And can you at least go outside? I don't know that, but you can do stuff in the house. You can jog in place. You can do jumping jacks. You can draw, like scribble really hard on a piece of paper. That's dissipating that adrenaline, bringing more joy in, putting in hormones that are going to be relaxing and calming and beneficial versus those negative hormones, the same amount that cause the headaches, the fighting, the fear, and anxiety.
And then once they get that adrenaline out, then we can do the other calming things where then they can be in a state where you can have solutions. But until then,
Right.
You've got to help them.
Well, and understand too that when that child is in that state, it's very hard for the parents. So that's why the parents doing the breathing is very important. Then they're giving out the positive information. So if the parent can hold it and stay together, that's really helpful.
And that's so true, because we've all but I was thinking, it's funny, as a mom who had raised a child who was very strong-willed and very just a very challenging child to raise.
Yeah.
And in that way that she would challenge me on every and the tantrums and all that stuff. And yes, remaining calm during those situations is a huge challenge. And if you don't have tools like Therese is mentioning today, it's a lot of us will go through times where we have to put our own selves in timeout.
Exactly right.
Therese, the other day when we were discussing something, and you shared about a book called Autism Revolution.
Yes, we
share some information with our viewers today.
Yes, it's called, I don't know if everyone can see it. It's called the Autism Revolution. And I was actually privileged to work with this professor at Harvard, just briefly, and we met for like an hour or so. And it was very interesting to me because she discussed the importance of nutrition. And everybody who lives in different countries, their nutrition's different. But sometimes the metabolic reaction within the body can cause these things like autism and these different things. Now, originally they had said from vaccines, but she had proven so far in this book, and this was written 10 years ago, and I haven't spoken to her since, but that it was not related to vaccines. Yet there are other things happening within the body that it could be. And this woman is quite, she's studied a lot of this. She is the pediatric neurologist and a brain researcher. And she has done a lot of this and concentrated on autism. And they actually have a doctor in the Midwest somewhere who got children off the spectrum through diet. Now, that means that you need to do a lot of testing because not one size fits all. Some children cannot metabolize protein, which is something called PKU. And if you just give tyrosine or something, and I don't know it all, but if you give that particular supplement, the child gets off the spectrum. And so I just want to read to you one quick thing. It was the beginning chapter, and Enid and I were just so excited the other night because we're like, oh my gosh.
But when you say get off the spectrum, I think what's important to realize is that these how children present is so much of the time that you can go from having spectrum characteristics and spectrum behaviors and then have a diet and then literally not be exhibiting those behaviors, right? And so on some level, though, the way your brain works, you're always going to be on the spectrum, but you're not going to have the anxiety at the level that you're going to be able to be struggling so much.
Right. But I think, like I said before, the breathing helps, right? But you're like, well, the breathing can't be everything. This is another thing. Yeah. And that's what Enid and I were just like, oh my goodness. So it said that these students are getting better dramatically. And she's written about these students. And this young boy says, he comes out with his mom and she's doing a gluten-free diet. And he comes out and says, I no longer have autism. And she looks and she says, what do you mean? And he says, oh, I enjoy being around people now. So in that child's mind's eye, his autism was causing him not to be around people. That gluten-free diet for that child seemed to work and make him feel better. So somehow, if we could get the doctors to look at this metabolic happening within these children, according to her, and she's done many, many studies. This isn't just, she's got facts to back it and everything else. It's pretty amazing. And Manobina, what did you see from that information as well?
Yes, I just, I do not have the book and I just ordered it on Amazon, but 34 pages out of total 303 are available for reading on the internet. And I found very nice reviews of that book. Stephen Shore And Dr. Temple Garden, they also said very nice things. And Stephen was our guest a couple of episodes back here. And Stephen said about this book is combining meticulous world-class research on autism's biomedical causes and treatment with an artful presentation of the condition as a whole body phenomenon. Martha Hubbard elevates to a new level the thinking about, understanding of, and developing of interventions for supporting individuals on the autism spectrum. So I'm going to recommend this book to our viewers. And as I have also ordered it, so it's available on Amazon. And I think I'm going to get it by the end of this month. So let's see. And the first two chapters I really liked very much. And I just can't wait to read the whole book.
Well, and it gives you hope as a parent who this information is super valuable for me and my child.
Yeah.
It gives you hope. It gives you hope, you know, and like one size fits all.
One more thing I just wanted to ask both of you. As far as I remember, both of you are going to conduct a class on neurodiversity. Is this for?
We are. Yes. Enid, go ahead. You take over.
Okay. Well, we're very excited about this because Therese and I have been working together for 3 years now. And when I work with students and they show a lot of progress, people say, what is it? What is it you'd use? What program do you use? And I believe that what allows these students to make the progress they make is because of the work that Therese and I've done together. And so we've combined both of our disciplines and both of our, combined probably 30 or 40 years of experience and put it together in a kind of a really comprehensive class of what it takes for a student to be in their optimal performance for learning. And so and then there's a huge part of it, structured literacy as well, which is part of, is a big thing right now with dyslexic.
And who all can attend this class?
So we're keeping the class to 20 people because we want it to be a very, we want it to be very individualized for each person in the class. They feel like they get a lot out of it. So it'll be 20 people in the class. So whoever registers first, and then they will have 4 modules where it's self-directed. And then the last module will be question and answer. So we'll be able to really, and we'll have a group so people can help each other along the way, ask questions. We really want it to be very interactive.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
So really a very enriching experience I had today. And it has always been like this whenever I spoke to you and whenever I speak to you rather, and I always get enriched. So before we conclude today's show, any concluding comment, Therese?
Yeah, I would just like to say to please be patient with yourselves as parents. Try to be patient with the children. I know it's difficult. We've given you some ideas today that can help. And you're welcome to ask questions. Send emails out. We can help. Just know that we really are working on all of this, all of the professionals, as well as, we're all individuals that have a lot to offer. And so don't put yourself down because at one moment or one thing doesn't seem to be working. You'll figure it out. Just give yourself a chance.
And Enid, please.
So I want to kind of echo what Therese said in that, and we're here to help. So please reach out and ask questions. And so I just, what Therese says, to give yourself grace right now. I know as parents, we can be so hard on ourselves. And just, again, the patience, give yourself grace, just understand that this is a hard time for everyone, but really, truly, parents need to give themselves, really understand that they're doing the best they can. And then when you have the tools, you can always do better.
Thank you very much, Therese and Enid, for your time, advice, and recommendations. From my side, as I said, it has been an absolutely enriching experience today in Let's Talk Inclusion. And yes, we will keep interacting on this platform in regular intervals.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
And I hope today's discussion will be beneficial for the viewers of the show, the take home part. So thank you everyone for your continuing support. See you next Friday. And next Friday, our experts will be Ms. Tiffany James from the UK and Ms. Lola Aneke from Nigeria. So they are our founding members again. So till then, goodbye. Bye, Enid. Bye, Therese.
Thank you for
very
having me.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.